Hey up folks, did I ever tell you a story about that time I ruined one of my class 37s using wrong glue and it melted body? No, of course I never told you because it only happened this week, but I'm going to tell you about it now. It all started off with the class 37 improvement scheme where I was basically going to fit a sound decoder, stay alive and add some detailed parts to the front end. I didn't want to be massively heavy-handed, I didn't want to use glue that melted body, and I didn't want to ruin my model, so let's see what we did. Basically, I got my front end looking all nice, and when I went to fit the Stay Alive and the sound decoder and speaker, I thought what I'll do is I'll take all that gubbins out of the roof, which I've done before. You know, the old fan in it blocks a lot of sound, so take it out and black tack my fan to the sides of the body. And as you can see, I basically popped my grill out with my thumb like an heavy-handed monster. I glued it with Bostik glue. Don't ever use Bostik all-purpose. Most of you probably know that. But it just started melting it to my thumbs and fingers. And this blue plastic meltiness nonsense just went everywhere and it just looked rubbish. So my original plan was to try and disguise that grill, save the loco, and if all else fails, buy a new model. So I thought I'll just weather roof like this real one here. I'll do it a bit nice and grotty, a bit grotty. I'm doing it fully grotty. And this what result. I didn't film any of the process because I was just too busy panicking trying to save it. And the weathering itself, I was really happy with. It's not fixed it. And I go back and try again, but just to show you a few photos of it outside, it looks quite good, doesn't it? The roof's a lot darker than this looks. It's a lot darker than this. The sunlight was beaming on it. But you'll see some indoor shots in a minute. I do a bit of a running session, so you'll get to see it. But the grill, basically, I glued it and then I black tacked it. I just tried everything, but the glue were melting like crackers and it was going weird. So basically, as it was setting, the glue's the grill's like dropped a bit, and it just looks rubbish, as you can see here. Look, if you look at distance, there's a big shadow, and I just couldn't get it right. And from above, it don't look too bad. It's got a little bit of glue on grill, but I can live with that. It's one of them, isn't it? I mean, it were a pristine model, so I'm a little bit annoyed with myself. But this shows you it looks a bit darker. It's still, even now, it's darker than that makes it look, but it is what it is. Camera does what it does with all lighting. But yeah, it's quite nice. I'm really, really happy with that roof. I saw one at Doncaster a few, maybe last year, and it was really clean on sides, and top were just acky. And I thought, yeah, I'll try that one day, and yeah, I quite like it. It had a bit of rusty tones to it as well, so yeah, I've gone with that. So Ben has got his new sound and stay alive. I thought we'll run him round track a bit. I had one of them Lies DCC decoders in this one, but I've took it out. It ran toy-like for me. I could never get settings right. I mean, I didn't overly try, but I just couldn't be bothered, to be fair. Because if I use any others, Lock Sounds and Zemos, you can adjust them, and they adjust quite easily. And I found with that one, it went from nothing to a billion in like one step, so I just didn't like them. So I'm sure they've got a purpose on a budget end, and I'm sure there'll be people who love them. I couldn't get on, but that's that. I tell you what, it's proper freezing this week, isn't it? It's probably costing me a couple of Bachmann 37s in heating this month, which is not good. So yeah, he's going to do a bit of a running session, and we'll talk about what went wrong then. So first of all, what went wrong is I originally took that plastic. There's like a plastic grill cover with speaker holes in it that you can unscrew, and it gives you a little bit more room, and it lets a bit more sound through. And last time on my when I did that speaker upgrade on my red stripe, that came off, and you blue tack grill to the sides of the body, each side of owl. And it works fine, and I don't know why I didn't go with that, but what I thought I'll do one better. I thought I'll just put a little bit of black tack in middle of the grill, and I'll stick it to and I'll stick it to metal grill direct. I don't even know why I thought that, because it's going to be far too high, but at the time, I don't know if I'd had a couple of beers, if I'm honest. I just don't know. But basically, I just put my thumb straight through it, and it just came out, and it was like, oh my God. And they've got these little metal tabs. One of them snapped straight off, two of them bent flat, and one of them were all right. And I just couldn't for life of me get it lined back up. And I got it best I could. In fact, to be fair, I did get it pretty lined up. It weren't like it is now. It was pretty lined up. So then I went and I got some of that, I've got some Bostik all-purpose glue. It's pretty much like Yoo-hoo glue, so it's like solventy. I don't know why I didn't even do a little test area first, but I'm sure I've used it before on stuff. But basically, I put that on and it instantly started melting and making a right mess. It were all over my fingers and everything I touched was getting blue gunk on it, front body. So I just had to like let it go off and set overnight, and then that's when it's dropped overnight because the glue's obviously melted and not done its job. And the black tack's not held because I think that's probably had a bit of chemical reaction as well with Bostik because it were all touching each other. So it was just garbage. So yeah, don't ever use that Bostik stuff on your loco bodies. I actually used it to glue some detail parts a couple of months back and it worked, but it were really old stock, so it didn't really have any. It only just came out of jar with a pin, so it were a bit of a dodgy one. But yeah, don't use it. I'm gonna have to do PVA next time, and I know it takes a bit of time to go off, but so be it. So looking at this running round, I think it looks well decent. That roof, I really like it. The body's nice and clean with just a couple of little bits on it, and then I've done the bogies and the bottoms of the front and back, just with a little bit of spray and whatnot. To do that roof, I flattered it off with some rail match matte that I had left over, varnish. And then I used a combination of basically brown, grey, rust weathering powder. I used some Vallejo paint. I used some Tamiya paint. Tamiya, whatever you call it. Everyone pronounces it different. What is it? I call it Tamiya. Anyway, I used some of that. All sorts of colours. Because I used the Tamiya smoke. And I don't even know if I'd stirred it properly because it was going on like almost see-through. I don't know if it is see-through, but I thought it was a bit nonsense. Never used it before. But what got me out of trouble, Vallejo. But what I found with that Vallejo, I've never used that before, that mod layer. And that doesn't half go off quick in pot on your airbrush. It literally is drying in pot. So I weren't used to that. I've used rail match all these last 12 months, but I was just trying to be a bit safer without, because I don't bother using breathing apparatus and all that nonsense. I know it's fully bad for you, but I just can't get my head around it. But yeah, I like it. I like how it looks. Look, it looks like it's had some cleaning and some love, but they obviously can't reach roof, and roof's had a bit of a battering, which I quite like. I do quite like how that looks. I think that looks lovely. It's probably my favourite. It may or may not be my favourite, who knows. It's close though. It's quite annoying because I like it so much, and then that grille, it's literally like sticking my thumb in my own eye. It's going to bug me like crazy, that. So yeah, I don't know. It's almost too good to scrap it, because I says to one of my mates, I says, what I'll do, I'll buy another body. Not that I think you can buy this particular one, but I'll buy another body. Yeah, they're 40 or 50 quid, but then I'll just do this as a scrapper outside at line like it's a wreck. But it just seems too good to do that to now. I'm so annoyed. I wish I'd have done like a crapper job with weathering, because I do think I'm not blowing smoke up my own arse, but I do think it looks all right. So this model's got an HM7000 in. I thought, being as though they're on this offer at 55 quid with a speaker, I'm going to take advantage, so I bought a couple more. This one's got the 20x20x7mm sugar cube speaker, which is what I've put in my other ones, but it's just a single one, because apparently the Monby only like single. It's plenty loud enough, to be fair, especially once you remove all that gubbins and let sound through. As long as you don't put your finger through the grill and ruin it. Yeah, and this time round I bought a pack of 3 them AE model DCC Concepts ones, like the Stay Alives. I thought there's no point not having Stay Alives, because you might as well stay alive, aren't you, than not stay alive. And apart from being tiny, they've got plugs in, they just plug straight in, so they're alright, there's no hassle. And soldering's not my thing. Well, I don't mind soldering, but fine soldering's not my thing at all. I've not got a soldering iron that's fine enough for one. And I'd probably end up just shoving it straight through body and through bottom, wouldn't I? Because I'm so heavy-handed. I'm sick of ruining stuff. But, yeah. So he's going to park these up now. I'm just going to back him up, bring him up, and I'm going to stick him next to other 37 that I did. just to show you the difference in weathering. And then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to take him off, strip it down again and try and make that roof a bit better, because I'm not going to live with it like that. It's not good enough, and I just hope I can get it a bit better. And while he's doing that, I'll just talk about Liberty Junction 2 updates. I didn't buy, I found a load of cork, and I know someone says do this and that and maybe use foam underlay. Well, I use foam underlay on this track, apart from this little area now on right, this new area, this depot-y bit, what's all dark, that's not got any, that's just straight onto ply with no shoulder. So it drops, where he's coming down that corner now, that track drops from 3 mil high and it just slopes down at that point, down to the ground. I don't know if you can tell the difference. I don't know if any of you knew, but it's straight down to the ground, and it's not as defined. But I don't even know if I noticed. But anyway, I decided to, being as I had some cork, I'm just going to crack on because I'm so impatient. So I cracked on, and then I ran out of cork. So I bought some more cork, and I've now finished. I've corked the entire bit right into the tunnel now, so it's all done. The corking's all done. So all I need to do now is run a bust wire, solder that up, and then I'll be able to run some trains on it, believe it or not. But what I'm going to do is, I don't want to start, because that track is so flexible, it moves so easy, unlike the Code 100, that if you touch it, it goes out of shape. It's not a problem because it holds its shape as well, so as long as you're gentle with it and you look at it, you can get some decent stuff, angles and whatnot. Curves even, not angles. But anyway, what I thought I'm going to try and do is I'm going to glue it to cork. I'm not screwing it, I'm not pinning it. I'm going to glue it to cork like I've always glued this, but I use Copydex. But what I might try to do, I might try and water Copydex down and seep it underneath it with like a pipette or something, so that it basically sticks without me having to go mad with it. Because I don't want to start lifting it up and pulling fish plates and weakening it all, because it's quite fragile stuff. It's not like you could literally beat someone up with a length of Code 100 and it'd be all right. It'd hold its shape. It'd probably cause them a bit of injury. But if you tried doing it with this bullhead, as soon as you swung it at them like a bat, it'd just bend in your hand and you'd probably end up hurting your own fingers. So I don't recommend it for that. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, so I thought if I smother track in watered down Copydex and then when it goes off it'll stick it, that's the plan. I'm going to do a test piece. I'm not going to cake it all over sleepers. I'm going to make sure I drop it in between them so that it doesn't cover the top of it in Copydex, because I know it looks quite rubbery when it's gone off. So the plan is to do it like so it doesn't go on top of them, so it's going to be quite a tedious thing. But I just want it to do it. I just want it to be right, and I don't want to have to mess about, even though I'm probably messing about in process. Anyway, look at this now when it's parked next to other one. I mean, light, you really can't see weather on this. I just get camera to adjust in a minute and show you, because it's got more weathering than that looks. Just need to make it flick to macro mode. Let's just do that with a little bit of magic. It happens soon, but it's this talk over, you see. When you do your, I watched it, there we go, look, now you can see it. I watched a video the other day, someone's audio had gone wrong, and he had to do a talk over and it was blowing his mind, but I always blow my mind because all my videos are talk overs, so it's super awesome and confusing. Anyway, apart from that grill, I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all, but that grill's rubbish, absolutely rubbish. So now I'm going to get him out and I'm going to take it to bits again and I'm going to see what I can do. I'm desperately going to try and save this model, because I particularly paid, I think I paid about 146 for it second hand. I mean, it were like, I think it were new second hand. I don't think it had been used. It were literally pristine. But I paid top money for what was. It must be a 10-year-old model. But I really wanted this Mary Queen of Scots in BR Blue, and it don't come up very well. It probably comes up every 5 days or so, doesn't it? But to me, I'd never seen it. Only time I saw it, it went for crackers' money. So yeah, I went for this one, and now I've ruined it like an absolute maniac. Hey, just on a side note, if anyone's still actually listening to this, on one of my old models that I've just bought, it's in detail pack. It comes with like a little bit of mesh, like a rectangle of mesh. Anyone know what that's for? Because I ain't got a clue, and it doesn't even mention it in the instructions. Not that I've read them, but I don't think it mentions it. If you know, let me know. Anyway, look at state of that unacceptable grill rubbishness. It just looked rubbish at that angle. So I got a final to-do list to try and get it better. Glue it again to hold it better and weather over anything I've done wrong. And this is what I've managed to do. Look, it's a lot more lined up. It's still not quite perfect. It's got a little bit of glue marks on grill, but that just is what it is, isn't it? I'll just pretend they're dead birds. This side's probably weakest. It looks horrendous, but in reality, that's probably about 0.5 millimetre. So I can live with that. That's the worst bit, but like I say, look at the size of rivets. It's tiny. I can live with it though, especially for now. It'll do. The grill's not even lined up fully straight, but it is what it is, isn't it? We'll just pretend it was built on a Friday, and lad wanted to go home with a fitting grill, so he just bodged it on, and it's as simple as that. And then it's got, like I say, it's got a bit of glue on it. It is what it is. You can't really. I can't really do what about it. If there weren't pioneers in the world that were doing these kind of extreme weathering things, stuff would never get done, would it? So everyone would have shiny plastic-looking models, and no one would have weathered grottiness. So we've all got to start somewhere. So yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy enough. I'm not happy. I'm just pretending I'm happy, but I'm fully not happy. I'm so annoyed. But the weathering's all right. The only thing is now, I mean, look at it from here. If I run it this way around all the time, which is not a problem to do on a circle, you'll never see worst side. But the only thing is, because I've been repairing it so much, I've got, as you'll see when I zoom in, it's worn a little bit, weathering off at roof. Look on these little noggins, but I'll just touch them with a little bit of rusty nonsense. You see these little bits here? Here, look. There, look, them. There's 5 or 6 where it's just worn them. But I'll sort that. I might even not sort it, I don't know, and then we'll just pretend, like I say, there's a load of dead birds' nests got into the fan. That'll be fully acceptable, that, in Liberty Junction. So lesson learned: don't use Bostik all-purpose glue that you can buy from the works for £1 a tube. It's good for sticking paper. It's good for building Metcalf. It's not good for putting on your Bachmann. What do you think to weathering though? Is it any good? Have you noticed any other problems with model? Any other issues that you can see? May or may not be a test. And yeah, that's how it's looking from that, and I think it's quite good. I'm quite happy with it. So yeah, that weren't very fun, were it? So where do we go from here? Do we stop all this weathering nonsense? No, do we heck? This is next victim. He's just coming in now to be a victim. Come on, pal. Just get your sin parked up. We'll try and be a little bit more less heavy-handed with you. As you can probably hear, this one's also had sound fitted now, Stay Alive fitted. It's I got that lock pilot 21 pin, and they're just not saying without sound, even though I don't always run them with sound. It is what it is. Question is though, do we go dirty, grotty, or do we go light weathered, just like it's quite new? I'm not gonna lie, I'm edging for grotty. You decide, or maybe you don't. Anyway, folks, I just need to add, this video has proudly been sponsored by the Coal Merchants Association of Scotland. Putting coal in every hole, that's their goal. Is anyone still here? I don't know why you stay to the end, because you know it gets a little bit daft at end, and there's always those little silly surprises. So the coal in the whole goal were the surprise for this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. See you later, folks. See you next time. Cheers, bye.